I'm Elizabeth Davies. Welcome to interest.co.nz. I'm here today with Jonny McKessar, Director of Three Beans Coffee. Jonny, could you tell us a little bit about how Three Beans got started?
Three Beans, I guess, was for me kind of just a passion that I wanted to give a go. I didn't think when I first started, I'm not sure I think when I first started that it was ever really going to succeed. I thought it's one of those industries, I guess, you can start quite small with not a huge amount of capital behind you and give it a whirl, you know. And as it started getting interest and picking up, then I could start investing more, and I guess that's how it started really, because when I first gave it a shot, I was just kind of hoping it would work and I would reassess in a few months' time.
And was running your own business something you'd always wanted to do, or did you kind of fall into it?
Yeah, I think it was. Maybe subconsciously, I've always enjoyed managing people and projects and stuff like that, and so it sort of felt like a natural decision for me really. By the time that I decided to just take that step out, it did feel natural and something that I really wanted to do.
And as far as getting into the coffee business, was coffee something you already had a passion for?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've worked. I think my first job ever, I was 16. Just trying to get a job out of school was making coffee at BP, and then from there I worked my way through university in cafes, and then worked my way through Australia in cafes. And I think at that point, I decided I was sick of working weekends and these long hours, and so I decided to do something. And I found a job as a barista trainer, and that led to a roaster, and so yeah, all my working career I've been in coffee, and yeah.
So you mentioned you're working your way through university. Where did you go to university and what did you study?
I went down to Otago Uni and I did a degree in film and media down there. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously came out with nothing to do with film and media in the end, but I kind of always joke that I wanted to be a director, and I ended up having a director anyway somehow in one way or form. But so it's one of those things, I guess, that a lot of university is just teaching you how to think right and stuff like that, and so I had a great time down there. And I came out and didn't do anything with film, but I wouldn't regret it for a second. It was really great.
So when you came out of university, did you have any mentors or anything like that when you were thinking about starting your own business?
No, I mean, there's a few year gaps between it. I travelled around Australia for a bit, making coffee, and then I don't know, I've always felt that I just you do what you really enjoy and find a way to make money out of it, and then somehow I've just seen too mmany people that are working on these jobs because they think that I'll give it 2 years because it's what my employer wants, and to me it just doesn't make sense. I just wanted to do what I enjoy doing, and I just really enjoyed working in hospitality, and just took these opportunities as they come, I think. Yeah.
And obviously there's a financial challenge to launching your own business. How did you gather the capital that you needed to launch in the first place?
Well, fortunately for me, coffee is one of those industries you can probably start with quite low capital, and I guess the more you invest, the bigger the company you can become quicker, and the faster you can pay it back. But for me, it was just a little bit of savings I had behind me to buy a few bags and a few beans, and then I started contract roasting it out. So I took it for several years. We were taking it to another roaster, and they would roast them up to what we wanted with our blend and everything like that, and then we were basically packaging them and then servicing the cafes we wanted to do. And it wasn't until we got up to a certain threshold of volume that we could say, right now it's worthwhile investing into the machinery for us to do it ourselves and really take this to the next level.
So as things have grown and progressed and the company's gotten larger and larger, have you faced any specific challenges along the way?
Yeah, there's been plenty of challenges. The challenges every day. I mean, every company has cash flow challenges. They're always it's always a real pain. But I guess fortunately in this industry as well, with the product industry, your biggest cost is your product. So at least in coffee, you're buying these products in and you're putting them on monthly accounts, and your customers are paying you monthly accounts. Whereas recently I've had experiences about with other companies where our biggest cost is labour, and they're coming out weekly and people are paying you monthly, and that's a nightmare. I think I've been really fortunate with Three Beans and how that has progressed, because I guess in a way we've just progressed slowly, building on top of what we've done, and the challenges that we've faced and everything that we've been able to deal with as they come.
So looking back, there's no massive mistakes or anything you would have done drastically differently?
Not massively, no. I think there's heaps of small things. I remember we started off and I thought, I'm going to go out, sell some beans. It's going to be really easy, and I want, when someone says yes, I want to be prepared with all my stock. So I went out and I did this huge run of cups out of China, and I bought all these bags, and then it just took ages and no one came on, and the cafes that did come on, they wanted to use their own cups and everything like that. So I was sitting on a lot of stock by that point and stuff like that. So there's lots of lessons to learn in that, but they say you got to learn from your lessons.
So as time goes on and the company grows, in the next 5 years, where would you ideally see yourself and see Three Beans?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because I've been thinking lots about that recently myself. I think there gets a point where to get to be a really big company requires just constant capital investment and constant growth, and sometimes you can get to a level where you're operating a small company, a small amount of staff, and it's a really comfortable place as well, and you've really got to make that decision whether you're going to, if you're happy there, is it doing what you need to do, you're making a good living, or do you want to be the next big name in your industry? And I think for me personally, we've gone out and looked at a few other businesses and started other cafes and stuff now, and I'm enjoying branching out for that, and I'm enjoying where Three Beans is now as well. I'm enjoying it being the small boutique name. We're not going out and knocking on doors saying buy our beans. People that we supply to have come to us and said, we've had a great coffee somewhere else, and would be interested to use our beans, and that's cool for me. And so probably you want to be saying that you're going out in this aggressive plan and you've got this huge marketing strategy on how you're going to grow your business, but for me personally, I like the slow growth of where Three Beans is heading. It's good.
So you mentioned you had other businesses in the works. What would be your next baby, so to speak?
Our next big project?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I think what's nice about what we're doing now is we're sort of controlling our production supply a lot. We've opened, so I took on a business partner probably a year and a half ago or something, and he had a few cafes, and since then we've opened other cafes together, and now we've opened a bakery. So while we've got the retail side of things with that, we're also starting to take control of our production supplies. Obviously we've got our coffee, and now we've got our baking. So there's really interesting ways we can go about it. We've looked at things like big air dried meat places and stuff like that. We could do our own meats and stuff like that. So that, for me, that wholesale side of things is really cool. That's really so. They could be the next things, I'm not sure yet.
And on a personal level, what do you think it takes to go out and do it on your own and be your own boss and be successful?
I don't know, for me, I guess it's just being willing to give it a go, I guess. You just got to back yourself a lot of the time. There's a lot of risk when you do these, when you go spend a lot of money into a cafe or something like that. There is a set amount of calculated risk, you can do it. But there's always that risk, and sometimes you just have to do it. I think for me, a lot of the time is I'm not that much of a perfectionist either. I think I just go in and get the job done as quick as possible, because a lot of time is so much money. I see so many cafes operating and opening where they do these really expensive long fit outs, and by the time they open, they're almost broke because of the amount of time. And I just like getting in and doing things, and yeah.
And just finally, you are a young guy. Would you have any words of advice for other young people who are starting up their own businesses and wanting to go out and do what you do?
I think it's really important to get your product out there as soon as possible. I read that before I started Three Beans. Someone had said that, or I read it somewhere. They said it's better to get an unfinished product out on the market to get feedback from people rather than spend all this time perfecting it. And I think that's that timing thing I was talking about. Time is money a lot of the time, and if you've got something out there, just get it out, because you can get valuable feedback straight away. And if it's, if you get something out there and everyone turns around and says this is a terrible product, you know where to work from, you know what to improve, and you won't go visiting those customers again. But it's I just like that quick movement and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for your time, Jonny.